Okay guys, I've come up with a generic warm-up that you guys are going to be able to do every day at home that's going to prevent any sort of, hopefully any sort of injury that you get from just jumping into something really cold. And it's also going to increase your likely performance for the workout and help you maintain intensity throughout the workout rather than sort of starting cold and then not being able to work your way through. So this is a 3-round warm-up. We have a 10-meter bear crawl in a pike position, followed by a 10-meter high knee run, a 10-meter back high heel run. After that, we have 5 inchworms and 10 air squats. Now, as the round goes through, we progressively overload the movements a little bit. So we go to a quadruped bear crawl, which is a little bit more demanding. We then carry across the high knee run and the high heel run, and I'll explain why that is. And then from there, we also then go from an inchworm to push-up position, and we increase the squat load with lunges with arms extended over the head. After that, we take the quadruped bear crawl and we increase it to a burpee broad jump. We keep the high knees and the high heels the same across the 3 rounds, and then we do a gymnastics inchworm, which we will also demonstrate, and a Spiderman lunge with a rotation. Now, there are 3 main components or 3 things that we need to keep in mind for a warm-up that we're trying to achieve. The first is we're trying to increase our heart rate. Now, have you ever just jumped into a workout without being warm? It's kind of like getting smashed in the face with a fire hose. Your heart rate goes straight through the roof. You're a bit out of control. You're trying to catch your breath. You're in a bit of shock. Your body's in shock. So what we want to do is gently elevate that heart rate as we warm up. And then when we get into those thrusters or lunges or burpees or jumps or whatever it is, and our heart rate is not elevated from our resting heart rate to our max heart rate within the space of 30 seconds, it's a little bit easier to deal with. So we can work through that sort of, 60 to 70 to 80% of our max heart rate and increasing and holding on there. So it's just a little bit of less of a shock when we get into the workout. The second thing we're trying to do is work through active range of motion of the joint. So what that means is we're looking at dynamic mobility. So we don't want to just overly static stretch before we train. If we do that, we're loosening up the ligaments and the joints and the tendons in the joint, around the joint, I should say, and therefore increasing instability in the joint, which is not what we want. We want to increase increase stability while we're moving through that range. So think of things like Turkish get-ups and overhead squats and holding in position that are going to make us stronger through the joint rather than just stretching the joint. Okay, so that's another thing we're trying to achieve when we're doing a warm-up. So things like squatting to full depth, the jumps, the lunges, the rotations, the inchworms, the presses of the inchworm, the holding the arms over the head in the lunge, and all of those things are going to help with range of motion in the joints. Okay. Following that, the last thing we're trying to do is increase our core body temperature. So we're trying to increase that the blood flow and the core body temperature within our body, so that when we jump into the workout again, we're already warm, we've got a little bit of a sweat on, and we're ready to go. We're not sort of cold and going from nothing to flat out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to demonstrate the movements for you, keeping in mind I've got 10 meters written here. You might have 5 meters in your house. You might have a static position in your house. All of these movements can be done in the static position without moving laterally or lengthways. So keep that in mind and take that option if you need to, if you're doing this in your lounge room. So that's our warm-up, pretty generic, should get you through most, if not all, workouts. Just make sure that you do increase that heart rate, so if you feel like you didn't do that much in the warm-up, go for a bit of an extra run, a bit of an extra jog, or jump on a bike, roller, for a little bit of extra time, do a couple of sprints to really jack that heart rate up. Moving into your specific workout, when you go into that, make sure you prep those movements by doing a little trial round. We do it most times in most workouts in the gym, so just do a reduced repetition or a reduced volume walkthrough of what you're about to go through for the workout in the same order that you're going to do it. Now the reason we do that is we prep those motor patterns, we get ready for exactly what the body is about to do, or that we're about to ask of our body. So just if it's lunges into burpees, into pull-ups or sit-ups, just run through a nice little practice round. Make sure you're ready to go. Make sure you lay out of your gears good. You're not going to knock something over in the kitchen or the lounge, wherever you're working out, or the garage, and just have all that set up nice and ready to go, so that when you hit the 3, 2, 1, you can go all out and keep that intensity nice and high. All right, guys, get after it.